For I think the first time here on YouTube. I'm trying to get everything organized and set up. Welcome. I'm actually a few minutes early because this is new to me and I wanted to make sure that I did it right, and I'm plugging in my microphone. Hopefully the microphone works. So yeah, this is supposed to start at 3 p.m. Central Time. Let me see if I can bring you guys up. Oh, looks good. Looks good. Now, I'm not sure if you'll be able to make comments during the live. Afterwards, you can make comments, and I edit them. I don't just allow you to do comments. I edit them so that we don't get any spam, because there's a lot of spammers out there that just love to make our life interesting. So, welcome to Workshop Wednesday. I normally do this live on Facebook, but I've been having some trouble with Facebook, so I am trying it on YouTube. I normally do it on Facebook, then upload it to YouTube, but that's not working. So let me see if I can see if I have volume. Okay, I do. Good. So usually on Facebook I go live, and I do a project for you guys. So today I'm going to do this project, which I hope you're excited about. It's kind of a simple card, but at the same time it is pretty, I think, a pretty simple card. But I wanted to show you how to use the new, and I say they're new because this is the first time Stampin' Up! Has sold them, on page 149 of the annual catalog that came out 1st of June. Oh gosh, May, June, I can't remember. But it's the annual catalog, the big one. It's masking paper. That's this one. Page 9 has a little N there, which means it's new. So if you want to get some masking paper, go to page 149 and order it. Get the number to order it at stampinup.com, and use my current host code that you can find on my website, www.carolbcrafts.com. www.carolbcrafts.com, right here, and you can use my host code, and with your $75 retail purchase I will refund you your shipping. So that's a pretty awesome deal to get free shipping from me, and I do that via your PayPal account. But if you don't have a PayPal account, don't worry, I will work with you. So yeah, I wanted to show you how to use this awesome masking paper. It's been around for a long time, but Stampin' Up! Has just started carrying it, which I'm excited about. So I used masking paper. With this stamp, you have this stamp and you have the pumpkin. Now you might just want to use the pumpkin, or you might not. But if you want to use this over the pumpkin, it would be kind of messy if you just stamp this over the pumpkin like this. That's why I use the masking paper. It cleans all this up so that you don't have double stamping over stamping. And it's not as difficult as you might think. It does require a little bit of cutting with scissors, but if you wanted to make this card, it's not absolutely positively have to do the masking, like mask the flowers and then stamp the pumpkin, because you could use your dies. You could stamp the pumpkin on your paper, and then on a separate piece of paper stamp the flowers and then cut it out with the die, and then just put the die cut flowers on top of the pumpkin. It would actually give your card a little more dimension, and would be a lot easier than masking and stamping, but I'm doing this to show you the technique more than anything. Because it's a good technique that you can use on a lot of cards. So the first thing you have to do is when you're doing masking, it kind of messes with your head a little bit, because at least for me, when I did my first masking, for some reason I thought I would do the pumpkin first and then the flowers, but you mask whatever is closest to you. Like if you're looking at 3-dimension, the flowers are in front of the pumpkin. So you're going to mask the flowers, then stamp the pumpkin instead of the reverse. So whatever's closest or closest to the front, you mask that. So I have a piece of basic white paper that I have die cut with, and this is one of my go-tos. I am using this one right here. It's the third, so 1, 2, 3, and these are the stitched rectangle dies, if you want to pick those up. Stitched rectangle dies. And then I'll just go ahead and tell you now, I went ahead and stamped this in Cajun Craze because it's not really, you don't have to watch me stamp that. And then my Give It a Whirl dies, which I'm always pulling out for you guys. Always. I use it a lot. My favorite are the clouds, but it has stars and hearts and a couple of cool little labels. And that is where I got the label to cut around this hello. It's a perfect fit. So if you have those and you have the Hello Harvest bundle, and then You Are Such a Blessing would be a perfect fit in there too, if you wanted to do that. So it's always fun when you find the perfect fit for your sentiment. But there's a heart and circles too, and a little scallop circle. So lots of fun. So Give It a Whirl dies. I really highly suggest you pick those up and use my host code. All right, so I'm going to do some stamping. First, before we stamp on here, we have to stamp on our masking paper. And it's important that you figure out before you stamp which side has the sticky on it. So this has the sticky on it. So I want to stamp on the back of that because I'm basically making a sticker. So find your sticky, and that tells you what side you want to stamp on. I'm going to bring in my handy dandy Stamparatus here. I don't need the foam mat for this because these are beautiful rubber stamps. So I'm just going to put this, and then of course you have to fight with these magnets because they are so dang strong. So I'm not going to have to cut everything. So the part that I'm just going to stamp it. I'm not going to make this difficult for you. I'm just going to stamp it here, and I'm going to do that in Memento Tuxedo Black. Now I'm not sure about comments. I'm not even sure how to access the comments if you guys are making comments. So forgive me. I did allow comments, but if you're making comments and it's not taking, then I apologize. All right, so here we go, stamping that, and I'm going to stamp that, just ink it up one more time and stamp it again because, you know, it's nice to have a nice deep impression to follow around when we're doing our cutting. Now I would I would cut, I would die cut this one. I mean, I would stamp it, but I saved it from before where I stamped it, so no worries there. I'll just use the same one later. But you will want to stamp one of these little and cut it out as well. But I'm going to use one I already did. So just for time's sake. Always good to save time now. And clean that off with my Honest Wipes. Oops. It's kind of weird not seeing comments. I'm used to comments, but I'm going to have to figure out how to see comments because I'm not seeing any. But that's fine. It's a learning experience for me. Now, what I'm going to do, well, you know what? I probably need to go ahead and stamp. I have a piece of 3 3/4 by 5 basic white and a 4 by 6 plastic sheet. And I just did my nails, so I don't want to mess them up playing with these magnets. I'm going to use on the inside, I'm going to use You Are Such a Blessing with, I'm going to stamp that on my plastic. If you've used the Stampin' jig before, this technique is very similar. Stampin' jig is kind of like old school. This is new school, I guess. So I'm going to slide this under the plastic. But what it does is it helps you find, you know where that's going to stamp. So you can perfectly line that up. No more wonky sentiments. That's kind of my pet peeve too. Homemade cards can have a few characteristics, but we don't want like mistake characteristics. We want intentional characteristics. Okay, so clean that stamp off, and next, so this is the stamp that you will use, and I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm going to stamp here one of the little flowers, and I'm going to stamp that in Daffodil Delight. Okay. I probably should have used crushed curry. And I will tell you, I'm just barely. Don't push hard on this stamp, which I almost did. Because if you do, it's gonna, sometimes with rubber stamps, the edge, if you push too hard, the edge will print also. Alright, so here's my mask. And I'm going to find the direction that it goes. Now this is kind of like maybe too picky. You may think, oh, that's awful picky. But it's a technique I'm showing you, okay? So I've masked that. So I basically put my mask over my stamping, and now I'm going to stamp here, this flower here, with the Daffodil Delight. Oops, you see there's my, I didn't take my own advice, but I'll fix that later. I have a technique to take that off, but I have to find my sander, my soft sander. Okay, so next it will be here. Hopefully this time I remember not to stamp it too hard. Okay, there we go. Oopsie oopsie. Now you can see what I mean when I say the edge of the stamp. Some people cut their stamps when they do that. Not all rubber stamps do that. I guess sometimes it just depends on the shape or how hard I press or what. All right, that's the inside. That was 3 3/4 by 5. We'll get back to that later. Oh, let me show you. I take my mask off here. Some masks you can reuse and some you can't. It just depends on how delicate they are. So you can see how it kind of masked a little. And you can also see where I messed up. I'm crying. I don't know. I have something that I don't think it will work with this. It is an actual little eraser. I may redo that. Guys. I don't want to do, but not while you're watching. All right, so now we're ready to do the front. So we have our mask. We're done with our stamping, so we can put all our inks and stuff away. Get them out of the way. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, inks. Now for this, you're going to need some nice sharp scissors, and Stampin' Up! Sells these snips, they call them. So, and that is not dry. That's not very dry. So that's why it is transferring. I think because I stamped so much ink on there that it's a mess. It is a mess. So down here, like this is going to go over my pumpkin like that. So there's my pumpkin. It's going to go. So I really only need to cut down here. I don't need to worry about cutting all that up there, because when I stamp my pumpkin, it's not going to be up there. That's the good thing. So I'm just going to come up here where you might be able to see me, and I'm going to come around, and it's kind of like just fussy cutting, really. I don't know if that, since I kind of smeared it with my thumb because it wasn't completely dry, it is kind of hard to follow around. So there's one bit. Now I could have done this ahead of time, but I wanted you to see, because this is the important part of masking, is cutting the mask. And so I didn't want to shortchange you there. Now this is a little trickier than some, because it has all these little round things here that you're going to have to cut around. Now, like I said, this is for technique. If you don't want to do this, you can just do a 2-layer and use your whatchamacallit, your die. But this isn't a problem for me. If you were going to make a lot of cards, you definitely would not want to do this. You would want to, I'm thinking that's enough on that side. This side's a bit trickier. But not impossible. Now I'm going to try to get inside here. And see, that's what's really kind of tricky about this one. And that's probably why you wouldn't want to do a lot of these. So is that enough? I'm thinking I might want to get in there too. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. enough of that. But it's worth it. It's worth it. That's how you get the 2 layers without double stamping. Now I'm going to make sure I get all that ink off my fingers because I don't want to transfer any of it to any of my good stuff. And now I do need to bring my Stamparatus back in. I might have said I was done, but I am not. I'm not done. All right, this is that piece, the stitched rectangle dies. I'll put it on here. Like I said, I just did my nails, so I'm kind of being protective of them. Now this is my pumpkin. So pumpkin's going to kind of go there, and I know that this is going to want that to go there. But you know, I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to use my 4x6 window sheet, and I'm going to stamp an image of that here. I'm not taking any chances. It's too much work so to fix a mistake, so I'm not gonna take any chances. All right, so there's that image. So now I'm gonna kind of know. I'm gonna slide this underneath, and that's gonna kind of tell me where it's gonna stamp. Just want to make sure I have plenty of room for my pumpkin. I want even spacing from the top and the bottom of my images. So that's about right. I'm going to stamp that with the basic Memento Black, Memento Tuxedo Black. Okay, and again, okay, clean that off with my wipe. That's good enough. Now, this is where I mask. So I'm going to start over here, and it's just like a sticker. You have to kind of find where it starts and ends. Come on, there we go. Come on. Oh, I stamped on this. I stamped on the wrong side. I stamped on, that might be why it didn't. Oh, doggone it. Don't you love that? Let me do that again. I thought I had figured out which side was the sticky side. All right, that's the sticky side. So let me stamp on it. Oh my goodness. You guys. So annoying. That's why it's smeared. I couldn't figure out why it was smearing because it hadn't before, and now I know. Now I know. And you know, I was going to go ahead and make a one just in case, but I thought, nah, I don't need that. Well, I did. So I'm going to try to quickly cut again another mask so you get to see me do this yet again. So be doubly sure that you stamp on the side that is sticky. Now, having done that once, I'm pretty sure, I'm just going to make sure. Okay. That is the sticky side. I stamped on the sticky side. So let me get my scissors back in here. Oh my goodness. So I guess we'll just have to chat. You'll have to listen to me chat because I can't see your comments, but I know that you're there. So next time I'm thinking I will figure it out and I can see your comments. But for today, no. But eventually we'll get this all worked out and it'll be awesome. I hope. That's the plan anyway. This part is not the hard part here. These are kind of easy here. It's the edges that's a little difficult when we get over to the sides. Now, if you didn't want to get like really specific, you could not do as much as I'm doing. But it pays off in the end because it looks so much nicer. Okay, I don't think it's going to go up past that. And then over here, oops, I don't want to cut through. I'm thinking that's about all I'm going to do. It gets pretty tricky there. Okay. Thank you for waiting. All right, so now this is my mask. This time it should work because I double checked. Ah, there we go. Be gentle, pulling it off. I'm going to start down here because this is the tricky part. I'm just going to cover those up, follow that pattern around. Okay, so that's going to mask this off so that when I stamp, oh, that one didn't quite. Go where it was supposed to. There. So now when I stamp my pumpkin, on here, and again I'm going to use my plastic because I want my pumpkin to be perfect too. I don't put my stickers on. I'm going to do this way this time. I don't put my stickers on my stamps because I normally do this anyway, so this is just me. You can do whatever you like. You have my permission. Isn't that nice of me to give you my permission to do what you want? Okay, so slide this underneath. I'm going to leave that mask in place. Whoops. I don't want to move that. So this will help me to know where that is going to stamp. And I want to make sure There we go. I'm thinking. I want my pumpkin straight. I know that much. And I want this straight too. So it might be a little off center, but that's okay. So, oops. Come on. There we go. Now you're going to see the magic. And the magic is, I've got that masked, so nothing I stamp on my pumpkin is going to stamp on my flowers. There's my pumpkin. Now you can see what it would be like if you didn't use the masking. You can see how that double stamping is just, it looks kind of messy. I'll bring it up there. That's what it would look like if you didn't mask, trying to double stamp, stamping over stamp. And it doesn't look that great. But since we did mask, we will take this mask off. And if you're careful, you might be able to use this 2 or 3 times. But I'm not sure, because down here it gets kind of tricky. See how that broke off? I guess you could still use it in 2 pieces if you wanted to. You could still use it. All right, so I can see that I missed a little bit there. You can take a black pen and fill that in. I don't have a black pen, so I'm just going to use a pencil for now. There. Easy peasy. All right, so I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to do some coloring. So that's our masking. Ta-da! That's our pumpkin, and it's masked. So you can see that it is so much cleaner now that we use the mask. But again, if you didn't want to use the mask, stamp the pumpkin, stamp the flowers on a separate paper, die cut the flowers, and then put it over the pumpkin, and it would make like a 3D effect. Did I use very many Stampin' blends? Nah, not many. Only about, how many? 10. But hey, if you're like me, you have all the colors anyway. So this is dark Calypso Coral. This is light Cajun Craze. So light Cajun Craze is what I want, and I'll show you what I did with this pumpkin. I took and I put along the edges of the lines, and I'm actually going to make my lines a little bit bigger now than I did the first time, because the first time they kind of disappeared. And I'm kind of losing ink too on this. It's kind of getting low on my ink. Okay, so that is just kind of what I did with my light Cajun Craze. Then I came back with my light Pumpkin Pie, and that's what I colored my pumpkin with. And then I just kind of blend it in here with the Cajun Craze, and it gives it a little bit of shadow. it's very subtle, but it makes a difference. Now up here is where the stem goes, so I don't think I'm going to do that with the pumpkin pie. I may have to come back and do a second coat. I did with the other one. But that's okay. I don't mind. All right, so up here, that's where my stem's going to be. So let me just go ahead. I probably need to do that again. My stem is going to be my bronze. Where is my bronze? Bronze marker. I'm going to use my bullet tip and do my stem. There. And for the bigger leaves, light mossy meadow. Oh wait, before I do the leaves, let me do my flowers. Dark daffodil delight for the petals. So trying to not take too much time to do this, but I also don't want to mess up. I find it's easier to use the brush tip of the Stampin' Blends. And the Stampin' Blends are sold in packs of 2, light and dark. And they're really a good value, and the thing that I like about them is the colors blend. Unlike regular markers, you don't have to worry about there being like marks where you streaks or anything in the flowers. So I'm going to go back and just get the tips of the flowers a second time, so they'll be just a little bit darker. It's like putting a second coat of paint on them. And then on the end, for the inside, I'm going to use ivory. The ivory and the bronze are sold in a set. And then light mossy meadow for the leaves here near the flowers. Now you can use any color that you want, because you know, you don't need to buy colors just for this. And then light old olive for these other tiny ones. Tiny leaves. That's a flower, not a leaf. And let's see, the dark calypso coral is for these couple little flowers here. I thought that would like kind of bring some pop in there. And then dark calypso coral for these little like puffy balls that are around the edges here. And then that's that, and I'll come back and do that second coat of pumpkin pie. Just so it has nice color. Nice rich pumpkin-y color. All right, now the inside, I would color these light Daffodil Delight, but I'm going to redo this, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Light Daffodil Delight, Ivory Center. I'm just going to do one so you can see. And then I'm going to come back with my bronze and do with the bullet tip little dots in the center like that. But I'm not going to do the whole thing because I'm going to redo that later because I can't give that to anyone with that mess up there. Okay, we're ready to put our card together. Yay! Awesome. And hopefully my hands are clean enough that we can do this. And so first we have our card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Fold it in half and crease the fold. Just make sure those sides sides match up, not mess up. We don't want them to mess up for sure. Then I have a piece of Cajun Craze. This is really fallish looking. 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 is going to go on the front. But first I'm going to put a piece of this paper, which is from the new mini catalog. And I'll show you. This is beautiful fallish paper. It's called Rustic Harvest, and it's in the July-December mini catalog. If you got my paper share, you will have this. You'll have a 6x6 of this and all of these too, these gorgeous papers. If you don't have it, I still have 3 left. You can email me, Carolbcrafts@hotmail.com. And this is how it comes packed individually. Each paper is labeled in a 6x6 sheet, and they're packed in 7x7 so that you can keep them together. But email me, Carolbcrafts@hotmail.com, if you're interested in that. And so this is a piece of paper from that pack, and it is, I wrote it down. Where did I write it? Must not have been on this one. It was on a different one. 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. 3 7/8, 5 1/8. So we'll put that on, maybe. If I can get my sticky stuff to work for me. And that's going to go right 1/8 of an inch all around. That was my daughter calling. She should know this is my time to do my life, but I guess she forgot. Okay, so this is going to go here on the front. It's so sticky. Well, maybe I'm going to use this side for my front. It's just a 1/16 of an inch all around. Okay, and then we're going to put this on in the center, just like this. Such a pretty card, and simple too. And then we have another piece of Cajun Crave, 4 by 5 1/4. Cajun Craze. Right there. Now this would go in here, but like I said, I'm going to redo it, so no, not going to happen. And then we have our little hello. It's going to go here. I'll put that on with some glue dots. Twist it off so you don't pull. Yeah, don't yank. It's going to kind of just go right here, wherever you think it looks good. I think it looks good right there. Now I'm kind of thinking that looks weird. Need to make that a little bit darker so that it looks like the stem. All right. Lastly, I chose 3 of the smaller amber gems that come with the leaf label and amber gem combo pack. And I think I've already cut some. Where did I put them? There they are over there. I cut 3 of them, and they're going to go right up here. These are great for the fall too. If you want to pick some of those up, again, be sure to use my host code. You can find it on my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, to get your shipping refunded to you. If you use my host code and you have a $75 retail before shipping and tax. Get over there. All right, we're done, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are done. All right, so I hope you enjoyed making this card with me. I hope you learned something about the Stampin' Up! Masking paper. I hope you'll give it a try. I think you'll like it. You can do all kinds of fun things with it. I'll try to make some other things with it as well, other projects. So this was a little difficult cutting out all those little things there, but well worth it, I think. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.